everybody, it's Claire here from Sewn by Claire, and I thought it had been a while since we've done a bit of a chatty video, so I hope you're going to indulge me in listening to me rabbit on for a little while. I do apologise, but hopefully you'll find it enjoyable and informative, and if you're new to my channel, hopefully you'll find out a bit more about me that perhaps you didn't know before. I have done some chatty videos before on my channel, and lots of at the moment, while I get warmed up. So I hope that you've in time had a look at one or two of those just to see the other sorts of things that I'm interested in, that I enjoy doing. It's not all just about the dolls, although it can seem like it when we've got a marathon stint like we've just had with the Lillian doll. This is the one that we've just been working on, in case you don't sort of catch up with those. That's Lillian, who is a stuffed lamb from Lily Rose Dolls, and I made Lillian from the kit, and here she is in all of her wonderful glory. So I'm really thrilled with her. She's got a really cute face. She's a bit whiting out with the lights, do apologise for that, but she's really cute. But then she's got this stunning underdress with a lace edge and the little Peter Pan collar and the lace front, lovely puff sleeves, and then she's got a beautiful pinafore that's all embellished to sit on top. I've still yet to make her headdress, and if I show you this, if you could see my desk, it's absolutely covered with things. So I've got a nice long string of green leaves. Oh, it's got some flowers on there, and then two different kinds of flowers to go on that as well. And I'm just on the hunt for some floristry tape at the moment over here, so I need to pop into a florist and just see if they'll very kindly let me sell me a reel of their floristry ribbon, and then we'll be back up and running again, and I'll get that one recorded and live. I know that it can be a bit frustrating if perhaps the Lily Rose dolls are not your taste, in order just to bear with me whilst all of these videos go out. But as you know, I try to be quite detailed in my videos, and there's a lot of work in a doll such as this, which is just lying down on my desk at the moment. And I think that it's lovely for those who aren't quite as confident with their sewing to have somebody to help them, and that's what I try to do. So I do know that it dominates the channel for a short while, but once those videos are up, then like with the lunar lapping videos that I've done previously, then they're there for anybody to access whenever they want to, and hopefully that's useful, that if ever you decide you're at a stage where you want to have a go at one of those projects, then there's a video that's already live for you, and you can work your way through them. I know the long videos, again, this is for the people who are new, but I try and pop in to the videos as much as I can in terms of tips and techniques and just content, so that you can produce a character that you're really proud of, and also that you can manage your own expectations in terms of the actual time that it takes to make these characters and to a good standard. I know that some people can say they're a sew along video, but then it's sort of only a few steps, and it can leave you guessing in the middle, or they sort of don't show you the sewing. And for me, that's the gap I think that I've always wanted to fill. I've always wanted to be that person who can give you that extra detail, and who you feel you can ask questions of and come to without feeling like, oh, I'm just a beginner, she's not going to want to bother. Because actually I want all of the beginners to feel inspired enough to have a go at whatever project they want. And if they can watch one of my videos and see it broken down, and then it helps just think, well, actually I think I could do that, then as far as I'm concerned, then that's my mission accomplished, because that's what's important to me. So I'm Claire. I've had a birthday now, I'm 57, and I live in southern Spain, so I'm a British expat and I live in southern Spain, and I've been here now just over 5 years, and it's absolutely flown by. My second husband and I moved over here 5 years ago, and we'd owned an apartment here for a while, so we had tried before we then moved permanently, and we managed to come over just before Brexit, so we managed to get our residency and to be able to stay here, so we don't get caught by that 90 and 180 days rule that people can get caught by. And having the residency here then helps we jump through those hoops whilst we could. I love the lifestyle. It's very outdoorsy, which is great. We've got a pool. Not us personally, I live in an apartment. So don't think I'm delusions of grandeur here. We're not in a great big villa or anything like that. There's a lot of apartment living over in Spain. And so we're in an apartment, which is lovely, and we love it very much. It's interesting getting used to communal living, which I've hinted on before. So for all of those who live in flats or apartments, then you'll totally understand how that can be sometimes. But also it brings a sense of community as well, which is also nice. And whilst I'm away from friends and family who remain in the UK, then actually having some friends over here is really, really nice. And I'm one of 5 and my dad's one of 6, so family's always been really, really important to me. And I've got 2 daughters as well, and Rob's got a son as well, all adults, and we've got a granddaughter too who's just turned 3, but we'll talk about her later. And so I think that starting my YouTube channel and my YouTube journey was a way of distracting me from being so far away from people. Luckily we were able to travel quite regularly when COVID was on. We still got backwards and forwards to be able to spend time with people, and we did all the relevant quarantines and what have you. And that was all an interesting time to say that you've lived through as well. I don't really want to have to do that again if we don't have to, as I'm sure lots of you would say the same. But putting yourself through the adventure and the challenge of living somewhere else is really quite liberating. It sort of makes you open your horizons and look at things in a different way, and also experience things from the other side of the coin, because of course we are immigrants into a different country. And I think that there are challenges that you don't even realise. Value your postal service would be one that I would definitely say, because the post over here is a little hit and miss. And we also now have the import charges if we want to try and send something backwards and forwards. So I think I once ordered a book from somewhere. The book was £10 or £15 and I had to pay £6 to £7 import duty on it. So there's things you have to get used to, and then other things that surprise you, because some of the things that you have to do is when you are here for more than 6 months permanently, then you have to surrender your British driving licence in order to obtain a Spanish one. I think they had to prize that one out of my hands, and it was really strange, because you think, well, it's just a card, it's not that much of a deal, but it did feel like letting go of part of an identity, and it's sort of that prizing of the fingers off your previous life, really, I suppose, and embracing the new one, which is good, but everything feels so new and strange in a different language. And whilst we are picking up the language as best as we can, and we do go to lessons and we do use Duolingo as well, if nobody's used that before, then that's a really good free app that you can get on your phone. But it's very good at teaching new vocabulary and also getting you used to speaking out loud and listening to a different language. And they've got hundreds of languages on there, I think I'm fair in saying that, including Welsh, and also I think there's Gaelic as well. So again, there's, as well as Navajo Indian, I think that they also boast about as well. So for the moment I'm just doing Spanish. I did start to do a bit of French as well, but then I found it quite confusing for my poor brain in order to learn the Spanish and the French, and then to remember which word I was supposed to be speaking. Rob tells a bit of a story about whenever we're travelling, we've been up to France a couple of times, and he says, it's funny because when we were in France, we'd say gracias and por favor to the French waiters, which really confused them, because of course we look so English, and then we're in France, but then we're speaking Spanish. So that just sort of did a bit of a mind bend for the waiting staff and the other people that we spoke to. But it's funny how your brain goes, oh, well, I'm in a foreign country, therefore I'll speak the foreign language I know. And that obviously, the one that we come to first is Spanish. So yeah, we try not to confuse everybody that way too much. But luckily where we are, luckily and not, in some ways, then the area that we're in on the Costa del Sol, we're down near Marbella and Puerto Banús down here, then there's a lot of English spoken because it's a very international area. And so we've got Belgian and Swedish and Dutch and Spanish and English and Ukrainian neighbours. So of course quite often the common language is English, and so whilst it can make you a little lazy, for want of a better phrase, actually so many people, you know, you'll hear the Dutch and the Ukrainian speaking to each other in English because they don't know each other's languages, but they know the common language of English. And so for such a small country that England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales are, it's good that they speak, that everywhere speaks English, but yes, it can make you, I think we're known as being a little bit lazy for our languages in some cases. But actually there's so much of the pop music that is, you know, you hear songs over here all the time on the radios in English, or the English pop songs are over here. So I think that there, and also in schools they teach it quite from a very young age. So I think there's quite a lot of familiarity with words. I mean, we know Que Sera Sera, don't we, and La Vida Loca and those kind of songs with the titles in, and we know the odd phrases from that, but it doesn't seem to transfer quite so much the other way, so therefore our tongues just aren't as used to doing the other languages. Anyway, it's all good fun, and it's just that getting to know things, but just things just sometimes feel like you're wading through treacle, which can be a bit frustrating when you're trying to think, oh, I just, floristry ribbon for doing the headdress. Okay, so where am I going to go to get that? Is there a florist? Is there a garden centre? Then I have to look it up first to see what the actual word is for floristry tape, if that's what they call it in Spain as well. And then I generally download a picture as well, so that I've got that on my phone. Before then you go into the local shop, and where we are, they are still speaking Spanish. And some of the restaurants and the bars are better, but the smaller businesses don't so much. And then you're having to use your best Spanglish as best as you can to be able to explain what it is that you're hoping to get from them, and hoping it you get the right thing. So it's just all those kind of things that you don't really think about before you move over here. I expected the postal system to work just like that, really easily, and everything to be delivered, but because everything's, not everything, but a lot of things are apartment blocks and behind gated communities, then the postal people have to either have access to the gated community and you don't have a letterbox in your door at all. Normally it comes into the community as a whole and then gets distributed by the concierge or what have you, or a handyman or whatever you have there. So yeah, for those who have ever thought about living, I don't know if any of you are expats as well. I know some of my subscribers are. Subscribers, same thing really, isn't it? Are expats as well, or live in different countries and live abroad, and therefore you'll understand that it can be interesting. So I think that the YouTube channel became into being because I had a gap in my life to fill after being a mum. My youngest will be 31 shortly, and my eldest will be nearly 35. Then, you know, you've kind of relinquished the reins on them as people, and you then start to then have to rediscover yourself and who you are and what you want to do. And some of this may be relevant for those people who've got either grandchildren who you've been looking after perhaps through the holidays and whilst they were younger and they're going off to school, or if you're a parent and then you've got to let your child go off to nursery or to school or even to university, because of course all the universities are going back now, aren't they, as well. So it is a big transition stage, and I think that having a hobby such as sewing, or it could be painting or cooking or what have you, is really useful to help fill those gaps in the times when you suddenly find yourself twiddling your thumbs and thinking, I'm not doing the cleaning again, I don't want to do the ironing, so what am I going to do? And then you have to find something to try and fill your time. And I think that's why, because I've found such solace in sewing over the years, then I think that's why I've always wanted to share my journey and to encourage others, and to fill in those gaps between the people who know and assume people have knowledge, and I wanted to hit the people who don't really know but don't know what they don't know, in order then to try and help. So it does make my videos longer, and you know I've apologised before for that, but it's a format that works for me, because otherwise I'm there sitting editing it and thinking, well, what can I leave out? And oh, well, I can't leave that bit out because then they won't be able to do this, and what if they don't know about this bit? And so before I know it, it's just easier just to push the whole video out and hope that the content is what you want. And of course you can always fast forward it. There are settings on YouTube as well where you can play it at either 1 times speed, 1.25, 1.5, or even up to double speed. But I sound very, very funny if you try and speed me up to double speed. But you can race through a video. So if you're wanting, or turn the sound off. So if you're just wanting to watch and see what's happening, but you don't need all of the steady detail and the conversation, then that's fine. Just zoom on through, but enjoy the watching and see what you can pick up whilst you're there. There was one lady very sweetly this week who said that she finds my voice very calming, which is lovely, so thank you very much for that compliment. And then, as we know, we've joked already about a couple of my subscribers who fall asleep to listening to my videos when they've got them on in the background, and we've had banter backwards and forwards about that, so I'm not going to go into that again. But whatever way you find me entertaining is absolutely fine by me. I have no problems, I have no hang-ups, I'm not precious about it. Just so long as you enjoy the content and you want to see more, then that's all that I'm really bothered about, really, I think. I have got a whole table full of things to show you that I was going to talk to you about and bring you up to speed as to where I am and what the plans are for the channel. Little bit more live stuff first before we sort of move on to that, if that's okay. I know this bit has been a bit of a monologue really talking at you, but you know, I hope things are okay with all of you as well. We've had quite a few new subscribers, and I want to say hello to everybody who's joined me. I really appreciate you being here and being part of my community. I appreciate you, and I hope that you do have a nice time here and find something of interest. There's quite a lot of difference in the content. It's not all just dolls. It will seem like that at times, but sometimes that's what I've committed to, and therefore I need to get those things going. But over the times, then there's other videos in there, and some of the older ones you'll find some other subjects matters in there, so you can always have a bit of a browse and see whatever you like. But yeah, so I hope things are good with you. I hope if you've had a hectic summer, it's starting to calm down. We've actually got some rain here today, which is very unusual. It's a bit of a thunderstorm that's rolled in this afternoon, and we are ready for the rain because we've probably had 3 months without a drop. So definitely need it for the gardens and for the reservoirs as well, but I doubt whether it'll be enough for all of that. But anyway, it's still nice. It cools it down a bit. I mean, we've been into the early 30s most of the last month, August, and we've even, when we popped away for a couple of weekends as well from July through to August, and I think we went, no, I don't think, I know, we went to Jerez, which is Jerez, and that's where all the sherry is. It's very well known for its sherry making, which is really big over here. Actually, it's not the Harvest Bristol cream type situation over in that we're used to in the UK at Christmas time. They drink it more regularly than that, and there's lots of different types, and it's really very nice actually. There's one called vermouth, which I really have enjoyed recently. Not to excess, might I just say, but just to have the odd glass every now and again. But when we went there, it was actually 38 degrees, and while we were driving back in the car, it hit 42. That's a bit warm for me. So yeah, that's too warm. You really feel quite sticky as well from all of that kind of heat. But the late 20s I really like, so you know, 25 onwards to 30 is really quite nice, and especially if you get some shade, it can be a lot hotter in the sun, but in the shades that's really nice, and you just have to remember to all the sun cream on. And although I've got long sleeves on today, I was wearing a strappy top before, but I've had to put, but I've chosen to put the aircon on in my sewing room just whilst I'm in here talking to you guys, and therefore I just thought, well, I'll be a bit more covered up, otherwise sometimes there's a bit too much flesh on display for you all, and I don't want to send anybody running for the hills. Yeah, but that was so Jerez was really lovely, but it was hot, and we did cut that one short. And then this last week we went across to a place called Ronda, which is really like our local historic town, I would say, and it's got a fabulous bridge over a gorge. And the first time that Rob ever took me there, when we were courting, there's a word you don't hear all the time, but when we were courting, We came over to Spain to visit, and we drove into Ronda. From our direction, it's quite an arduous journey because you have to go through the sort of a few of the mountains, and I think there's 145 hairpin bends, which, if you're a little bit car sick, like I sometimes get, it's not the best journey. But luckily we've found the solution, and that is that if I drive the journey, then I'm absolutely fine and I have no problems whatsoever. But as soon as I'm the passenger, even in the front, then it's a real no-go. So we've come to that conclusion, and it works well for both of us. So we went off to Ronda. I'll pop a picture up here. We had a lovely sunset dinner. Rob had seen a hotel he wanted us to stay in, and it overlooks the bull ring. And I'm not supporting bullfighting at all. I'm just stating that it was in that vicinity, and then looked over to the mountains just as the sun was setting. So that was a really special evening, and it was a really nice weekend away that we wanted to have, which was lovely. And I'll pop a picture up here as well of the bridge, because when you first go into this bridge, when we were caught in and we went in, I lose my track halfway through, don't I? I do apologise again. It's something, unfortunately, I do, and my brain sometimes goes quicker than my mouth, which I think is quite surprising to a lot of you, but it's very true. So I'll try and stay on track with what I'm doing. If ever I don't finish something off and you want to know the end of it, you can always pop something in the comments below, and then I will fill you in. So we drove to Ronda through these 145 hairpin bends, and if you can have a look at it on the map if you like. And it's one of those journeys through the mountains. Beautiful, really stunning, beautiful. You know, the sheer drop down the side isn't quite as beautiful, but the mountains and where you drive through is really lovely. And then you start to come into the centre of town, and then you drive over this cobbled bridge, and then you go through into the centre of town. The thing that you don't realise when you drive over that road for the very first time, which is what I didn't realise, is when we walked then back to have a look at the bridge, and I thought, well, it's only a cobbled bridge, why are we wandering back? But I went with Ed. And it's actually a sheer drop the other side, and this bridge is arched in the middle, and there's a ravine through the centre of the town. So half the town is on one side of this huge ravine, and the other half is on the other side. And it's the buildings that go right up to the edge of this sheer cliff face. It's almost like, you know, see those little mountain goats, and they're perilously jumping around on the side of the mountains, and these buildings are sat like that on the edge. So it really is a sight to behold. And if ever you come down this way on holiday, perhaps you come visiting the area, maybe Estepona or into San Pedro or Marbella, and you get the chance to go to Ronda, then I would really suggest it as a destination, because it's a lovely Spanish town. A little bit cooler in the summer than you might think, so you generally have to, whatever temperature is on the coast, take your cardigan or your pashmina or your wrap or your coat with you, depending on what time of year it is, because generally it is a couple of degrees cooler in the winter, but then warmer in the summer, because you're inland, so inland tends to get warmer because you don't have the sea breezes. But yeah, it's really pretty. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at the pictures for that anyway. We did also go over to the UK for Clementine's birthday. So Clementine is my 3-year-old granddaughter. I'm not allowed to share pictures of her with you, so I do apologise about that, but I totally respect her parents' wish to not have a picture on the internet, which I understand. But we went to her 3rd birthday party. Just in order to put this into context, is that unfortunately my 2 adult daughters and I are on, the nicest way I can say it is, we're on separate paths at the moment, and unfortunately we aren't in contact personally. There's still lots of love there, certainly. Well, there is lots of love there anyway, but I can say certainly from my side, but I'm not going to say that I'm speaking for them at all. It's just one of those unfortunate things that happens in families lots of times, that for whatever reasons there's a little distance, more than physical distance, which obviously I've got as well, so that doesn't always help. But we went over to the UK in order to see Clementine for her 3rd birthday, and as we arrived, she was giving out these little bracelets. She had a little strawberry party, and she got a little bag. So she got a beautiful little dress on with strawberries on that her mum had got for her, and there were strawberry balloons, and there was strawberries served, and there were these little strawberry bracelets that obviously had been made, and then Clementine was handing these out to everybody as they arrived. So I've kept mine as my little memento, and I will keep that really safe as a special gift. She's an absolute darling little girl. I am very lucky in that my daughter and son-in-law are encouraging of me to have a relationship with her, which is absolutely precious and is absolutely what Rob and I want. And so we make time to go over and see her and spend time with her. And we've been, as she's got older, we've been able to take her out on our own, which has been lovely. And we've taken her out for a picnic and play football and done those types of things. And then also, because I love swimming, we're very fortunate that the apartment complex we live on has got a pool. And so in the summer, when it's like, not thunderstorming obviously, because that's would be a bit silly, but generally speaking this time of year, then you can get in the pool most days, and it's I just find it really calming. I used to swim in galas, and I was in a swimming club as a child, and so early teenager, and I used to really just love being in the water. And since being here, I did go when I was at home with the children, when they were younger with the girls, and enjoyed taking them swimming, and of course they did all the swimming lessons and what have you, but you don't get as much time to do your personal swimming. So being over here has been great for that, because I can get in the pool and I really enjoy doing that. So I'm hopeful that she and I can share with her my love of the water. She's doing all right. We're building the confidence at the moment, and she's been really enjoying getting her armbands, and I got her a little bag that got it was her bag and her swimming costume to go in it, in a lovely snuggly towel, so that we can wrap her up once she's finished. And we've been twice so far, and the first time it took most of the time, because you get an hour, don't you, most of the time to get actually into the pool, and I managed to get her to her chest height in the baby pool, and she was great then, and she was just getting her confidence as it was time to go. And then the last time that we went over, then I took her again, and this time she was straight into the water. She was happy to have her armbands on, which she wasn't so keen on the first time round, and then we had a great time splashing around, pretending to be mermaids, as you do, and just playing with they do a parent and child session, and so we were able to play with floats and watering cans, little toy ones, and little rubber ducks that were swimming around, and the little balls from Out of a Ball pool, also they got those on, floating on top of the water. So there's quite a lot there that we could play with, and she really enjoyed doing that, and it was great to see her trust in me. And then I have to be careful with her to make sure that she doesn't dunk her head or lose her confidence at all, so it's quite a responsibility, but in terms of enjoying it, then she seemed to really enjoy it, so I was really thrilled with that. So that was great. I also bought her a doll for for a birthday present, and when you're out shopping and you see something, it doesn't matter whether it's for a child or for an adult, or you just see something and you just think, do you know what, that's just absolutely perfect. That's what I want to get for her. So I chose her a doll. It wasn't one that I've made. I was a Tiny Tears girl when I was younger, and enjoyed my Tiny Tears. And I remember quite a funny story about that, because when I was quite glued to this doll, I really, really loved my Tiny Tears, and one day I couldn't find her. And that's unusual, because normally, as I say, she was glued by my side, and unfortunately, even a couple of months on, I still couldn't find her. And then Christmas came, and then suddenly the Tiny Tears appeared with a wardrobe of clothes. And my mum, who was a hairdresser previously, had a client, who offered to make some doll's clothes for the doll, but unfortunately took Tiny Tears with her. Do you know the sense of loss I felt at not having that, because I had no idea, she just disappeared one day and just wasn't there, was really quite profound, actually. And so I think that's going to play a part in this next sort of explanation, really, I suppose, when I show you I play with the bracelet, aren't I? When I show you the toy, because when I saw this doll, then I hope she'll become to Clementine what my Tiny Tears was to me. now you have to assume here, of course, that she likes the doll that you've bought, and that she sees the same thing in it that you did. But I grew up in the 80s, well, I'm older in the 80s. I got married in the 80s. When did I get married? 83 first time, I think, wasn't it? Something like that. Anyway, I was 20, I was 20 when I got married, and so, first time. And so I grew up around the time of Cabbage Patch dolls, or my children were young around Cabbage Patch dolls, and also the Puffalumps. Can you remember those as well, those dolls? And unfortunately, there weren't the funds to buy them for me or for my girls at the time, because they were quite sought after, weren't they, and really quite expensive. But when I saw this little doll, it's not little, when I saw this doll, I immediately was taken back to both my Tiny Tears, but also a Cabbage Patch doll. And I felt this doll was really cute. Now, it's really interesting because Rob's like, really? You like this doll? And I'm like, yes. And my mum, when I eventually showed it to her, because sometimes she can be quite opinionated and voice her opinion, which is absolutely fine, but sometimes it's not so nice when it doesn't match your own. And she was like, I'm sure she'll love it, which doesn't say a lot. And then my nephew, Corey, who's, what is he? Is he 9 now? He just said, that's creepy. And I'm like, it isn't, it's really cute. And he's like, no, that's creepy. So I'm going to show you the doll, and then you can have a look and see what you think to it, and see whether you think it's creepy or not. Because after I came back, let me show you the doll first. So this is the one, because there's a story as well about the box that it's in. So this is the doll. Can you see her? I think that's a really cute face. I know there's a lot of glare on the camera from the lights, but I think that's a really, really cute face. And she's got a lovely little skirt on, net skirt there, and she's got some little butterfly wings on the back of her, and her hair's in pigtails. Is that a better look of it, so you can see? But I think she's really sweet. So I bought the doll for Clementine for her birthday, thinking that this would then fit in my luggage. So I'd been quite strategic, I thought. I'd planned while I was, the last time that I went over to stay with my mum, because she's got some issues with her hip now, but needs to wait for a hip replacement. And I took some clothes over with me, which I then left there, so that because I knew that I'd be taking the present over with me, and I'd already seen a doll in a box and thought I'd love to give Clementine one of those. So I knew that that's what we're going to do. So we generally just travel with hand luggage. That's all we do, just the small bag that fits under the seat in front. So I hoped it was going to fit. So when I bought this box, I thought, well, it's about the sort of kind of height that we need it to be. Yeah, no, unfortunately not. It was 1 inch too wide, and it was about 2.5 inches too tall. And I just wanted to really gift it in the box, because it's got a lid on it, the box has, that goes like this. I'll show you. So it goes like that, you see, which is, I thought, was a really nice present to be giving, and to have the joy of opening it up. I got all these expectations of how it was going to be, which is not a good thing really, is it? And then of course I was thinking I was going to have to ditch the box in order to get it over to her. But I opened it up, because it's quite easy to open up. So I opened it up and had a little look, and the box isn't glued at all. It's just, I'm going to say, pushed together. So, and then I undertook a couple of hours of actually reintroducing all the folds to make the box the right size to fit in my hand luggage. And do you know what? I achieved it. There was not a millimetre of space free, because I could go down onto her head and then just squish her in a bit more, and just reinstate those folds, and so it worked. And so I was able to get her in my hand luggage then to take her over. I haven't heard back, for obvious reasons, as to how much the little doll is being played with, but I did get the joy of actually seeing her unwrap it, and for that I'm very grateful at the moment. And I can ask her in the future when we'll do video calls, obviously with Clementine, when I can't be over in the UK, and just see whether or not she's still got her doll. But this isn't hers, she's kept hers. But when I came back, that childhood sense of not having, and because my birthday was just before hers, and I was very lucky to get some birthday money from some family and friends, I just thought, do you know what, I actually want one, because I would eventually like to make some clothes for this doll, so that when I make the make a dress for Clementine, which I'm fortunate enough to be able to do occasionally, with the scraps I'm hoping then to make a dress for the doll as well. And I thought for Christmas it would be nice to make her, you know, like those padded cribs, like they can lie in like this, can't they? And then they have like a domed little top on one end and you've got some carry straps. I thought I might be able to make one of those and then maybe a baby carrier thing for it to go on the front of her as well, to carry it like a real baby would be carried. And then of course I need a model. So I've absolutely, and I don't mind saying this, indulged myself in picking up one of these dolls so that I've got her as my model to then use for them when I'm working with making things for Clementine's doll. But I love her. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I really, really, she just calls to my heart. So sometimes we have to just indulge ourselves and just not care about what anybody else thinks or whether they think the doll's creepy or not. But dolls are a big thing over here. They make a lot of the very realistic, are they called reborn dolls? And they make very realistic dolls like that as well over here quite a lot. So yeah, I just couldn't not. And I knew there was only one doll left in the shop and I was lucky enough because I bought the very last one. So yeah, she's mine. She's staying with me. She sits up on my shoulder, just on my shelf just behind me, in order that I can look at her and really enjoy her. Her hair colour is the same. Well, my youngest daughter is a redhead, absolutely stunningly beautiful hair. And blue eyes as well, which is what this doll is. And so she does remind me of her as well. And you know, I'm very lucky to have the girls. I know I am. And I know that life is too short and things should be mended, but it doesn't always work as easily quite as that, unfortunately. So yeah, so this is my little girl. So I haven't got a name for her. So if anybody can think of a name for her, because the name of the range down here by Antonio Juan is called Iris. But she doesn't look like an iris to me. It's not a name that I would give to her. So if anybody's got a name, then I'll be very happy to think of suggestions and we'll see what we end up with. So that was my indulgence. Also for my birthday, I did have a little gift from my friend Lindsay, who's my sewing buddy. I met her years ago on a sewing workshop with Alison Smith of the School of Sewing in Ashby de la Zouch, and I've done a tour of her shop. Previous shop has changed hands now since it was a couple of years ago when I did the video. But I got some lovely blue gingham fabric and I got this lovely white thread, and then I got this quilt pattern which is for chicken scratch embroidery. Now I've not really seen this before, but apparently it's a way of using white thread on gingham fabric in order to give the illusion, so by stopping mid-sentence again, to give the illusion of like a lace effect or a design embroidered onto the gingham. And Lindsay's got enough for a dress for Clementine, hopefully, which should be a lovely colour on her as well, because she's blonde and blue-eyed as well. And so that I can have a go at doing the chicken scratch embroidery on this. So thank you very much to Lindsay, which is a lovely gift to have. And just as she said in a message when she sent it to me, I'm sending you off down another rabbit hole. I don't know I've got time for many more rabbit holes, but yeah, at some stage I've had a little look at, online for some, and there's a couple of people who've done some, and it can look really lovely. So I'm wondering whether I do like a little elasticated waist skirt with like a paper bag top, and then I could put some pockets on, because when I've made something for Clementine before, she's straight away, it's not got pockets, Grandma. So everything that I make for her from that point onwards, I said would always have pockets, so this will need to have pockets on it. And I can perhaps embroider a little elasticated waist skirt for her, and then I think it was Twig and Tail have done a pattern for a nice big ruffle edged collar with it ties with a little tie bow. So I did wonder whether, if it's not too much overkill, whether the gingham skirt and then maybe a collar to match would be nice, and then she can wear it with a long sleeve jumper or with a short sleeve t-shirt if she wanted to, and that would perhaps work. So we're going to have a go at that at some stage as well. We'll see how it goes. I don't quite know when yet, But I think it's by using the white thread either on the white squares or the different coloured squares, it does give this like lace effect. And if you can see on the green here, can you see how some of the darker squares have been sort of taken out with the white thread on there? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So as Lindsay explained to me, she didn't buy the quilt pattern for me to make a quilt. It was to be inspired by the patterns on this to then decorate something for Clementine for a present. So that's the idea anyway. And Lindsay's very good at sending me off down rabbit holes like this. She says she has a love of sewing as well, and she makes a lot of couture quality clothes for herself, and then she's the one who did the smocking once. I think I mentioned that in a chat like this before, and she gave me some smocking dots and some did some smocked gingham again, I think it was, for a little dress, so I could have a practice and have a little go at it, which was really, really interesting. And I'd still like to have a go at doing some more of that as well, but there's only so many hours in the day, Claire, and you can't do everything. So yeah, so that's the one for there. Previous one she bought for me was this White Work Bee, which is very interesting, and I haven't had a go of that. And that came with the printed pattern and the thread and instructions. This is by Rachel Doyle, and it says an introduction to the white work technique of pulled work, which I've never done before. So that's something that I could take away if I was going away somewhere as a little kit altogether. But that was the year before's present, and then the gingham was this year's present. So thank you to Lindsay for thinking of me and for getting such lovely presents, really. What else have I got to tell you? So much, really. Let me just have a look at my little list. Oh, there is one thing I do need to tell you. I'm just looking at my list before we get into all of the projects and what have you, and that is that soon I've got to have some dental work done. And I know I spoke about this perhaps in the last video, and I was thinking that by now it would have been done, but it hasn't, because I found somebody. I had to find the surgeon who would do it first, and then unfortunately I don't know what was off, but on that day she and I were just not gelling at all, and I've got quite a bit of a phobia really around dentists. And because this is I've got an unerupted wisdom tooth at the back here, and then unfortunately it's got an infection over the top that's gone into my jawbone. I have no pain from it whatsoever and no discomfort really from it, just occasionally. But the dentist has picked up on it and said, no, we need to do something about that, and that needs to come out. And especially now the infection's in the jawbone, then that can be quite serious. So yeah, I agree, it's got to be done. But when you're a bit of a scaredy cat about anything dental work, then it can be quite triggering, is that the right word? Traumatic, to then think that you're going to have all these people working on you and all the noises and what have you when it feels quite big. Anyway, first dentist didn't, when I said to her, I said, look, just to let you know I'm a nervous patient. She was like, yeah, that's fine, we have lots of nervous patients, and just really brushed it off. And then asked about sedation and how is it. Oh no, well you'll have conscious sedation, so you'll be wide awake whilst it's being done, and you'll be able to talk to me and whatever. And I'm like, no, that's my worst nightmare. But so unfortunately, yeah, we didn't. I went for a second opinion with somebody else, and it was like the appointment was like chalk and cheese. So I'm booked in at the middle of October for that. So I've been told that I'm going to be extremely swollen afterwards for about 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, it's not going to be a very pleasant time. But luckily this new surgeon was happy for me to go under, have a general anaesthetic for whilst the work was done. And so that's what I'm hoping will be approved. I have to have private medical insurance over here because I'm an immigrant. I can't use the Spanish national system. So yeah, it has to go through and be approved before I know whether I can have it or not. So we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. But it does mean that I'm trying to put in some extra work at the moment to get some videos up and running so that you are kept entertained while I'm just recovering, and everything should be fine afterwards. They've all said it'll all go back to being just like normal afterwards, but it's just that healing time needs to happen, and it might just knock me off my feet for a couple of days. So that said, so please bear with me. That's, I say, middle of October. I'm not going to be telling people much about it because I just want to try and forget about it until it's too late and I'm there and it's been done, and then I can just then concentrate on recovering. And I should imagine that some of you as well are exactly the same. So we have got lots to be getting on with, and lots for the channel. We've got quite a lot of doll making still to come through, and that's where most of my time at the moment is for. I haven't spent anywhere near as much time this year doing any dressmaking for myself. I did do the fairy godmother, fabric godmother, sorry, peony dress, which has been, I love that dress. But now I've got 3. One I can get into, the other 2 I can't at the moment, so I need to work on those in time to be able to get into those. But that'll all come. No pressure, that'll all come. So apologies to anybody who hasn't had as much dressmaking coming your way, because I just haven't been dressmaking for myself, and I'm one of those people who can't make something just because I need to do a video for it. I have to be wanting to make the video for it because they are quite a lot of work. So that's what sort of held back on there. So, but I know that if you are here for that, then I do apologise, because doll making and what have you might not be your thing, but it'll come eventually. But as I say, at the moment, I'm not doing so much for myself. But that said, I have done some sewing, and I know that through the late spring we had quite a lot of issues with other stuff that was going on, and there still is some stuff going on. As I said, Mum had 2 knee replacements within 12 months, and now she's got to have a total hip replacement as well. So she's on the waiting list for that, and her mobility is really quite impacted at the moment, which is upsetting to see and frustrating for her. And I have said that I will go over to help her recover once she has the operation done, but I don't know when that'll be yet. I'm hoping it's not the same time that I have my procedure, because I need a few weeks after that to recover too. So we'll just wait and see what the universe has in store with us for that, because generally speaking, these things can happen all at the same time, because that's Sod's law, isn't it, really? But hopefully it won't do. And so where was I going with all of that? Oh, do you know what? I've lost my train of thought. Oh, sorry. Oh, I know what it was. I'd lost my sewing mojo, hadn't I? Just like I lost my words then. I'd lost my sewing mojo a little bit, and so that made it really difficult, because Rob's also retired as well now, so he wants to do a bit more together, which then I'm like, yeah, I need to record, I need to edit, I need to upload, and he's very supportive of everything I do, so long as it doesn't impact on what he wants to be doing. And if I was ever to say, oh no, we can't go away because I need to do the videos, I think he'd be a little bit cross with me. But the good news is that this time of year, the basketball, a Spanish basketball league, of which he is a huge fan, is now live and starting to play. So he actually, this evening, he's gone off with his friend to watch a friendly basketball. He follows the Unicaja, Unicaja team, which is the local Malaga team. And it's the second biggest league for basketball outside of the NBA, the American NBA. So Spanish basketball is a huge sport over here, and he loves it, which is great. But it does give me some time. So then I'm able to do some sewing, do some recording, and hopefully get some time to myself as well, which is what I'm using the time for now. So it's worked out beautifully. So he's off enjoying himself, and I'm enjoying myself with all of you as well. But one thing that helped me get into my mojo again was that I had a go at a different kind of doll. And it's this little doll here who's called Rosie. You might have seen her, she sits on the back of my desk here sometimes. So this is a little doll called Rosie. And she's got this lovely, lovely skirt with a lace trim, and then she also has bloomers, little bows on, and then little legs and her little arms, and then she's got this wool hair that's tied back. And so I had a little go at her, and she was surprisingly, she wasn't tricky, but she was just surprisingly full in terms of time full in order to get her made. But she's a pattern by, I don't know if this will white out or not, plastic, by Lily Rose Dolls. And I don't think she's available online at the moment, but if ever you go to a show or you go to a shop that stocks her patterns, there's one in Eastleigh in Leicestershire. And I saw her when I went to my workshop with Claire Bowman, who designs all Lily Rose Dolls, at that shop, because she was having a workshop there that you can go and book yourself onto. she's now opening her own shop that's going to have interiors. It's going to have the Lily Rose dolls there, patterns and supplies, and all the miniature haberdashery. But if you've ever seen them on the show, at a show, say like the Love Sewing show or the Quilting and Patchwork show at the NEC, then you'll have seen her stand, and she does carry the felt and all sorts of different haberdashery there, which you can't at the moment buy online. But she may well have this pattern as well. So this is Rosie, and she's a 12-inch rag doll, and she comes, as I say, comes out like this. So I had a little go at her. Look at her little blush cheeks, and she's made from a t-shirt and from a polystyrene ball. So this is just polystyrene that you can buy. This one was 55p, look, from the shop. Oops, with too much light on white. And then you use wool roving for her hair. And then she's got this, I must say, she's got her bloomers and her dress there, and a little arm. So her dress, oh, that was the ball dropping off the table. Her arms are on the outside. They're not, the dress doesn't come off, is what I'm trying to say, rather clumsily. But her bloomers, no, I think I sewed her bloomers onto her waist as well, so that, because I knew she wasn't going to get undressed, there was no point in making too much fuss. But how cute is she? So she's just nice, just as a little gift, and I just enjoyed making her, and working with the hair was new for me, and I sewed that between 2 pieces of tissue paper, and that made sure that didn't catch. But yeah, really pleased with her. So she was something a little bit different from the animals that I had, but a small enough project that she didn't feel overwhelming, and not so detailed enough that I felt that you know, I was doing the same thing I have been doing. She felt different enough. So yeah, that was Rosie who's been done. So that was nice, and I enjoyed her. As I say, you'll need to have a look at visiting the shop. If you go onto the Lily Rose Dolls website, then you'll be able to see the details of the shop coming soon. I think it's towards the end of September that's hopefully opening, and I'm not due back to the UK now until November because of the op and what have you else. So I think that I'm going to try and get over there in November, which would be a great time to visit. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just move some of this stuff over that I've already told you about. So in terms of the next video then, so after this one, I do need to find the floristry tape to do the headdress for Lillian, because she just needs that finishing off and to finish off that series. But the other thing that I know that I need to do is I needed to make this little character. So if you're a Luna Lapin fan, you'll recognise Hugh the Hound, and that's his head, made in a very pop-arty colourway. But I wanted to, because I was nervous about making him for some reason. And somebody very kindly sponsored towards the kit for me, and I've been putting off making him, and I'm so sorry that I have. But I think I was just, a lot of people had struggled, and I just thought, can I do it or not? But he's turned out really quite well. Hopefully you'll agree. I think he looks dog-like. And then he just needed the normal Luna Lapin body going on there. So this is going to be the next one that I'll release after doing Lillian's headdress, hopefully, after doing this one and then Lillian's headdress. So I'll be working on this in the background whilst I'm trying to find my floristry ribbon and floristry tape, and then we'll do the head. Now, because the body and the limbs are exactly the same as the other Luna Lapin dolls, then I'm not going to do a separate video on the body. It'll just be one together. Hopefully I can get the whole head done in one video for you, rather than have to split it into different parts. But I'll then make a body because I've got the kit in order to make him, so I will make the body, but you'll be able to follow previous videos that I've already released in order to do that. But yeah, the only thing I can't work out on this is, why is there 2 levels to his ears? Each ear has 2 levels. What's all that about? So that bit's confused me. So I think I'm going to do the ears slightly differently. I think I'm going to add seam allowance onto the ear section, and then turn it through, and then have these so that these are sewn together, but it's just a thicker ear, and it still needs to have this little sort of triangular bit on the top for the way the ears hang. So yeah, I'm going to try that. So depends on how you feel about it as well as to what you want to do. But this is going to be really great as having, as you know, like in dressmaking, I say sometimes we toile things, we make a practice garment out of some scrap fabric or what have you that we've got lying around, in order that we can check fit and we can become familiar with construction. And in this case, I certainly wanted to feel comfortable with the construction before sewing it for the first time on video, which is what I normally try and do. But this was just some old polyester felt that I got that I was able to use, and it didn't use that much actually, which is good. So I thought, well, this actually will be really good, so that when I'm talking about which bit I'm making next, when we are doing this, I can talk about the ears. I can show you by pointing out that this is the flews, because I don't think F-L-E-W-S, because I didn't really know what flews were on a dog at all, but it's this undersection here. And then there's the lower jaw. There's a funny bit that goes in the nose as well to make that pointy, and then the little patches for the eyes are sewn on in a certain way. The only bit that really kind of made me scratch my head was under here, how you settle under here. And I can't say that I'm 100% sure I've got it completely right, but it kind of works. And bear in mind that I made this very quickly the other night, but this needs to be neatened up a bit. But as long as I think that it's dog looking, and hopefully you agree with me that this does look like a dog and it does look like Hugh. Let me just show you, for those people who aren't Lunar Lapping followers, this is the character here, Hugh. He'll be in brown and white with a black nose when he's made. And he's in the Lunar Lapping Making New Friends book from Cool Crafting in the UK. So it's written by Sarah Peel, is the author and designer there, and they've got a shop in the UK called Cool Crafting. And I used to make quite a lot of Lunar Lapping videos, but I then switched loyalties really to making more of the Lily Rose dolls. They're more to my aesthetic. However, some people had sponsored some of the kits, and so I need to fulfil those obligations for that. So Hugh's the next step in doing that, and as I say, he'll be my working model when we're doing the video, so I can show you which bit we're doing next with that, and I think that should work well. The other kit that I've got to do is this one here, which is for Freya's opera coat. So I'm not making Freya, but I've got her opera coat there, and then underneath that as well, she's got a play suit as well, which is like this, like a top over the top, and then some little pantaloons underneath. So we'll have a look at, it's called Freya's halter neck play suit. So we'll be making that as well, and then the opera coat goes over the top of that. And that's got to be, I can't find the page that it's on at the moment, sorry. So I've got, oh, there it is. That's the other opera coat in greater detail. So I have got the kit for making that, and I need to fulfill that obligation too. So I am getting round to that, but I'm going to mainly do the Lily Rose dolls, but then I'll intersperse occasionally with the Lunar Lapping, so that those who are here for the Lunar Lapping can actually have a little bit of new content as well, which you might find useful. I'm not taking any new commissions for Lunar Lapping at all. I'm just fulfilling my obligation with them. But yeah, Hugh kind of looks all right though, I think, as dogs go. So yeah, he'll be coming up next. Then we're going to go on to Byron the Highland Cow, which is Lily Rose dolls, which is this one here. And he's got, I think some people have struggled with the drop front trousers here, so I'm going to help you and hold your hand through those. But he's got a lovely waistcoat, jacket, and the trousers as well, once we've made the actual character itself. So there'll be a video for making his head, and probably for his tail look as well. The body and limbs will be the same as other Lily Rose dolls characters, so you'll be able to follow other videos for those that I've already published, and that will then make it a quicker video set to get out. But he's 16 inch. There is a shirt pattern for him, but because I'll have a look and see if it's the same one as I made for Harvey Hedgehog, and if it is, then I'll just refer you to that one for knowing how to make it. If it's different, then I will do a video for how to make it. So if you wanted to have a look at that, that's what will be coming soon. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about the Lily Rose dolls characters is that when you make the character itself, so this is the one that I've made for another video, this is same as Harvey, same as this one. So put his hat back on again. So there's Harvey the Hedgehog in 16 inch, and this is the other one that I've made. The characters themselves are genderless. So this could be into another Harvey, like the male one, or it could be into a Henrietta, which is the kit that she will turn into being, which is this one just here. Okay, So this Harvey, exactly the same construction and everything as that. So if you what I'm trying to say is, if you see the male version of a character or a female version of a character, then you can follow that along to make the male version, or whichever way you are, because the actual character itself is genderless. So I attach them to the name that's been given by Lily Rose Dolls, so that if you are looking for that character, then you're instantly going to recognise the name and see the character and know it. But regardless of whether you want to make the Harvey or you want to make into Henrietta, then the base character is the same. The other thing that I thought was really interesting when I made this one here to be Henrietta, and again this is one that I did around the same time as when I made Rosie, the rag doll, trying to get through my loss of sewing mojo really, was and not needing to film all the time, was look at the difference in their faces. So if I just done them nose to nose, I much prefer the face on this one. So Harvey was my first character that I made, so his nose is much flatter. But on this one, look, I've even got the little upturned nose going quite nicely there. And I'm much happier with that face. So I just also wanted to kind of show to you as well how we progress. Because when I made Harvey, I'd never made one of the Lily Rose Dolls characters before. So as we make the characters, and sometimes we don't make multiples, I understand that I'm in a different position, but sometimes we make them for gifts and we give them away, or sometimes they're for ourselves. But I just wanted to show you that actually we do improve as we go along. They're both the same pattern, they're both the same size, but the faces are so much more different. I think this one's much more of a characterful face. I still love Harvey. There's no love lost for him, but I just, you know, just remember to be kind to yourself when you're learning, because we don't all learn something new straight away, and it does take time to get there. But it's worth the journey, is what, if you stick with it, because you'll see little improvements as you go along, and then those improvements add together in order to then bring you to a place where you're really happy. That's the theory. So after Byram, the Highland cow, then, and once I've made him, and I think there's a teenager sort of like age, and also a female one for the Highland cow. So remember that the male, the female, and the child Highland cow, the construction for all three of those will be the same. That's why that's important really for that. And then this character here, I will be making the clothes for Henrietta. So I'll show you how to make these pockets, and how to make this little Spencer jacket, and then how to make her bonnet, which you can see on the back there a little better. Look, the bonnet as well there. So I'll show you how to make all of those in another set, so that you've got that character to build up. And that it might not be that you can afford to buy the patterns, or you don't want to buy the patterns just yet for these or the kits. But I just want to sort of build up the library of those videos and sew along videos, so that whilst, you know, whenever you come to do that, then there's a video there waiting for you, should you wish. And that's really what I'm wanting to do and wanting to enjoy. That's it for the dolls, I think, at the moment. Let me just check my list, have a quick look and see. Yes. Oh, the other kit that I've got to make for Lunar Lapping is Otterline's Sailing Anorak. Now, you know, I've made, let's bring her down from the shelf. I made the fisherman's top with, and we enlarged the pattern, if you remember, because I couldn't get my top over my Otterline's head, so I showed you some pattern alterations in that, and we worked with the pattern first before then we made her top. Well, there's a sailing anorak that goes over the top of this, so I'll be having a look at that first, and I'll probably twirl that as well first before making it, but at the moment that'll be further down the list of things that need to be done, but that will be coming as well at some stage, along with Freya's opera coat and her play suit as well. So I wanted to say that, so you've got those coming in the future. What else have we got now? I have been working on some more on my personal whips, really. Let me just get a drink. Hold on 1 second, because I can feel my throat getting dry after all this chatting. Excuse me. So I have been doing some work on some other things as well, and I've made some progress on carrot cake, which is in this project bag that I made. Love this fabric. This is a fabric by Rifle Paper Company. Love that. And it actually, if you look, it matches Harvey's waistcoat. It was the same fabric. And I just thought making a project bag is a really good way. You know, you get a lovely fabric and you really just enjoy seeing it or having it around, then making a project bag is a really good way of preserving that, really. So you've got it, because we can, our sizes can change or fabrics can wear out if they're washed a lot, and this is one way then you get something to keep forever. And there is a video on my channel for how to make these vinyl fronted project bags, so that's all that's there for you, ready and waiting. But the pattern is by it's Carolyn Manning is the pattern. This is what it's going to look like when it's all finished. Try not to get any light shining on that one for you. And it's by Carolyn Manning Design. So Manning is M-A-N-N-I-N-G Designs. And then this is how far I've got with this one. So I have made some progress. So if I hold that against that, you'll see as I'm starting to work on those. Can you see those 4 white crosses? Then I've got the bottom ends of most of those then done, so that will be looking like that's coming together. And I really enjoy doing the cross stitch. It is quite small. I can't remember what count this fabric is. It might be 38 count, I think, so it is quite small, but the design itself is quite big. If you think I'm sort of there at the moment, and I can't show you the pattern, but I'll just quickly go like that. There's still a lot more to come out of that pattern yet. But the colours are great, aren't they? Just look at that detail. I think that's really going to pop when it's made. My husband's favourite is carrot cake, and so I started the project as a tribute to him, really, I suppose. In order that we've got this one, but I had got my eye on it anyway and liked it, but I keep that with me. But the project bag then just makes it a really easy to keep everything together, and before I go out I can just grab that, pop some reading glasses in because it's really small. I do need reading glasses for this, and then we're ready to go. I just have to make sure I've got none of my little snips in there, you know, the little things I use for cutting the threads, because I can't take those on a plane obviously, but the project bag itself I can do. That does fit in my travel bag, so that's the progress on there. And cross stitch is one of those things that I do enjoy doing. It's just having some time to do it. But that's the same with everything, isn't it? So we understand that communally, don't we? The other thing that I want to work on whilst I'm under the weather after my op is I want to get some more work done on Clemmie's quilt. And for those who followed me before, I've been doing a quilt for Clementine. And it's going to be a Christmas one, so hopefully she'll get it out each Christmas and then just wrap herself up in it. And it's this one here by Bunny Hill Designs. And it's called I Believe in Angels. Just do that like that so you'll be able to see that. So it's Bunny Hill Designs. And there's 9 blocks that are appliqued, and then with pieced backgrounds. And then it's got this lovely red border around the outside. And then I think it's is it a stripy binding? Or a dotty binding, something like that, binding on the edge there as well. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, and I've got 7 blocks finished. I just finished that one recently, and I've got these 2 blocks to go now. So I'm getting really close. Originally I wanted it to be needle turn applique. No, I wanted to use Laurie Holt's method of applique, which is where you use a iron-on, it's not an iron-on interfacing, it's a non-iron-on interfacing, and you can then trace your patterns on there, put it on your fabric, you sew all the way around and then snip through the interfacing on the back and turn it round, and it keeps all the edges in, because I thought, as Clementine's only 3 and hopefully she'll have this quilt until she's 103, then I didn't want the edges to start coming out too soon if I'd have used a raw edge applique, because sometimes they can fray at the edge. But I kind of underestimated how much detail there is in this. So if I just show you here, you've got a better idea of the some of the blocks. This is the 7, 8 and 9 block. Then you can have a look on there and see some of the detail in there, those pieces. Yeah, some of those didn't really lend themselves very much. I mean, like the star would be fine, no problem at all, but like her little legs and her little arms and her wings sometimes don't always lend themselves to that interface because they're too small to turn round. And so I have had to resort on those pieces to doing needle turn applique, where you tuck it under and then put a little holding stitch on. The effect is the same, so you won't be able to tell when it's finished whether it's been needle turn or use the interfacing method. The interfacing method is quicker, and it keeps all the edges in for you, so I think the edges are slightly smoother on that, depending on your skill level, of course. For mine, the interfacing method is smoother, but it'll still give me that neat edge at the end, which I'm looking for. So yeah, it's just trying to get that done. So I spent the other night while Rob was watching a basketball game, and I've just pieced the background. So this one is for block 8. This is the background for block 8. Like that as a, go that way because the snowman was upside down otherwise. So this is the back for block 8, which will be this one here with the sleigh. And then I've also prepped the background while I was there for block 9 as well. So I've got to work on the actual applique pieces next, and I'm going to get those prepped so that if I'm feeling like I just want to sit but I don't want to watch TV after when I'm recovering, then I'll be able to pick up some of this and just be able to finish those 2 blocks. Because once I finish those 2 blocks, I've already got the other ones done. Let me just get those for you, won't be a second. So you've seen on a previous video, I've got these blocks already done. So this is block 1 and block 2 and block 3 and 4 and 5. Oops, sticking together. Block 6 and block 7. So those 7 are all done and been pressed. So then once I've got the other 2 done, then really it's just joined together like a nine patch, if you're familiar with your quilting terms, and that will then give us the base of this majority of this quilt. So that's to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that 9 bit, and then I've just got to do the borders and just do these corner setting stones for it, and then I can layer it. So you put this flimsy, which is what it's called when you've just got these all sewn together in to make the front of the quilt. You put your wadding in between, and I've got some 100% wool wadding I'm going to be using, and then I've got this backing here which I picked up time before last in the UK, which is a brush cotton. So I think they call it flannel in the States, don't they? So this is by Winter Wool by Cheryl Haynes of Perry Grove Peddler on the edge there. Because when I made my my 2 daughters a quilt each for Christmas one year, and the one comment they had was that if it had the quilting cotton on the back of it, it wasn't very snuggly. And so I don't really want to put, is it called minky fleece, on the back of the quilt, but this fabric here as a mid-weight kind of solution I thought could work quite well, and I'm hoping that the colours, I know it's not quite perfect as a match, but you have to work with what you've got, and I thought the red was still a Christmassy colour, and I think because you won't see this on the front of the quilt and you won't see that on the back, I think it's just far enough away that it should be okay. And if I need to just change the binding colour in order to make it right, then I will do. It's quite a big quilt, I think, when it's finished. I can't remember how big it is. But you can see from the blocks that, you know, 9 of those before you've got your border on is actually going to make it quite nice and big. So it was intended as a lap quilt then, and I'll hopefully, with the fabric that's left over, make a storage bag for it, so that when it's too warm for it, if it wants to be packed away, it can go into its little bag and then it can get put away. This is the theory. It's not going to be for this year. I was thinking originally, I think earlier in the year when I was speaking, I thought I could get it done for this year, but the way this year's been, it's just not happening. So I'm going to leave that. I haven't done a video on how to do this quilt, and I think that in some ways that's a good thing really, because it's been a much bigger project than I thought. But I do have an inkling, a pull to do another quilt of some sort, and so I will be choosing a design and making a quilt, so maybe I'll do that with you as well. But if you're interested in quilting and you've not done any before, let me just pop this to one side just for a second. Get myself organised because I need to pick something up out. I thought I got everything ready and then obviously I haven't. Hold on one second. Then I'm hoping to give her this Christmas. I am going to speak to her mum and dad and just see if they think that it's something that they are happy to receive, obviously given the issues, because I don't want it just to go to them and then just to go into a cupboard, because I'd be really sad. I want it sort of to go and be happy to be used, and it's an advent calendar. So I made this storage bag, and there's a video how to make the storage bag for this, but also then if I just unroll this for you, we've got an advent calendar here for Clementine. You're not going to get all of it on, but it's got a little tie handle which undoes so they can pop it onto a kitchen cupboard or something. It will be given with a warning to keep it away from her reach, so it's not for her to play with as such, but hopefully she'll be able to use it year on year as a little gift. And I got the panel, oh gosh, where was the panel from? If you just do a search online for fabric advent calendar, might be Macawa, might have been a Macawa one, and I think this is called Santa Paws because it's got the cats on it. And there is a dog version as well if you're into dogs rather than cats, but my daughter likes cats, so I chose this one because they've got some cats at home. So I put a little thing on the back of there from when I made it, which is a couple of years ago now. So I made this in advance and then was keeping it to one side, but it's got the little pockets in it, and then I've made little ornaments, and the idea is that I'll get her a little individual Christmas tree, just a small one, and then each time every day she can take an ornament out of the pocket and then pop it onto the tree. And I've used some little beads on the back here, look, and then I've put a word on the back. Usually that one says dream, the other one said hug, because I thought then it might, as she gets bigger, she'll then she'll engage with the words more, I think, and then it won't then hopefully be too babyish. So then I've got this here, which is like a beach ball, and then I put a think on the back of that one. And you know, think about others, think about how we interact with the world, think about all sorts of things. And this one's got dance on the back, and then that, whoops, I'll show you a different one instead. What's this one got? This one's got save on the back of it. So it could be save your plastics for, you know, what, I don't know. I don't know why these words came to me, but they just did. And then this little button here was actually from a cardigan that I made for her auntie, for my youngest daughter Lucinda, when she was younger. So it was like little, and it was in my bottom box, and so I've used that to decorate it. But these were blank wooden sort of bits that I bought off Etsy, and there's a video on my channel how to make the whole of this advent calendar, how to make the pockets and to put those on, how to then hand quilt the round the snowman to make them 3-dimensional. Hopefully you can see they've got some dimension to them. Then how to layer it, how to put it all together, how to put the edging on it, how to put the doweling strips on, because there's doweling. Whoops, there's doweling strips in here as well to keep that sort of open so it doesn't fold in on itself when it's being stored, and also how to make the storage bag as well. So if that's of interest to you, you've still got time this year to be able to make something like this for yourself or for anybody in your family who you think might like it. And then I'm hoping, as I say, to gift that one to her today. But that video is already live and is really popular this time of year as well for people. It's in my usual style, pretty much staying with you every stitch and just showing you how to do things and explaining why we do things. And I just love it. So maybe I have to make one for myself actually, and then I can have my own gift. But the other thing for doing the little ornaments was I didn't want it to be chocolate. I thought that I would like other people to be able to indulge you with the chocolate, but I wanted this one to be more more generic, in order that it could just be used time and time again without any thought having to be put into it to go and buy anything for it by her mum and dad, and that it could just be pulled out each year and be used as it is. And that was the thought process behind that one. So yeah, I was really proud of this one. And it's hopefully going to be well received, I hope. But this year, I think it's about time. She's 3 now. I think that that's probably the right age for her. But if they'd rather not have it this year, then I'll just keep saving it for her until we're able to gift it to her, and hopefully she'll enjoy it. But yeah, I just put that on Clementine's advent calendar. And the idea is that if I'm lucky enough to have any other grandchildren at any stage, then I will then make them each one, depending on what their tastes are and what have you, and hopefully they'll enjoy using those and do that differently. So it was just a nice idea, but I just thought, because Christmas is not so far away now, is it? And we're getting into the autumn time now, our thoughts start to go towards the handmade gifts for Christmas and for autumn birthdays or what have you. And so I just thought, well, that might be a project that somebody's interested in. Or even if you don't celebrate those things, but you would like to have a project that you can work on and practice quilting, you could use some of the techniques that I've used within this to either make a reading pillow. Again, you're going to have a pocket on the front of a reading pillow and put a book inside it, or you're going to use that as a cushion front, and then you could then make it into a cushion as well. And there are videos on my channel on how to make it into a cushion, so you could do that too. So let me have a little look and see what else it's going to be. I think that's it for the actual things that we were talking about in terms of my projects that I've been working on. The other thing, this autumn, as we're getting busier now again, obviously I've got my op to get through, but also I go to a sewing class in the local village as well. That's held by a lovely teacher called Maritaire. She's really sweet, love her to pieces, and she teaches people who doesn't know how to sew from scratch, and it's just lovely for me to be around other people who like to sew. I try not to step on her toes at all in terms of being in the class, because it's not for me to be interfering. And to be fair, most people there, I'd say a good 90% of them speak Spanish only, so it's good for my ear to be in that environment in order to pick up the language again, and just to integrate really with other people. And I have made some lovely friendships there as well, which is great. So people do see me in the street and they'll say hello, or if they see me in a dress I've made, they'll comment on my dress, which is really lovely. And so yeah, that's nice. And there's a couple of videos on my channel as well, just to try and whet your appetite for things around where they've had fashion shows. I think there's 2 years worth of fashion show, flamenco dress fashion shows. So if that's of interest to you, you want to put something different on whilst you're just sitting and doing some hand stitching sometime, then one of those videos is really lovely, because the dresses there are stunning, and the ladies over here do wear their dresses when it's fiesta time, and they will, the girls and the women will make theirs. And I keep toying with the idea of making one for myself as well. So that's a project I'm thinking of, maybe for to keep in class, but just to make as I go through. And if you saw the video of me making the cape and the bodice and skirt for the Virgin Mary statue for the local church, then that's all part of that group. That's how I got involved in all of that. So those classes start again in October. That's just one morning a week, so although I have to get up, which is I'm not very good at, so that's all fine. And then also the age concern sessions that I'm setting up, have set up and have been running since last year. They're now about to carry on now. We managed to meet through the summer, which was good, because over here quite a lot of things finished for the summer, and so I was quite keen to carry it on if we could do, and we did. We had a good turnout, and we've got some ladies who are joining through from Age Concern. Either they've got ailing husbands and they aren't able to get out as much as they'd like to, but with something specific like the stitching, then it's actually getting them out for a few hours once a month. That's only once a month at the moment. So yeah, so I manage that as well, which is great. I don't have any sewing students at the moment. Nobody's coming to me to learn how to sew at the moment, so that's always an option, but to keep me busy as well. And I really enjoy working one-on-one with people for that. But yeah, otherwise I'm making my videos in order to entertain all of you and to show you what I've been up to. Yeah, you know, life is a bit like that sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes we're really busy and sometimes we're not. But I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into my little world, really, and spend some time with me. I hope I've kept you entertained and not bored you to death whilst I've been talking about the projects and about my life. I hope you feel you know me a little better, really, as well. I'm always happy to engage with people and to have a chat, as well as hopefully you've learned, and I'll respond to any comments on the videos as well, which I like to do too. But yeah, okay, I think we're done. I've gone through my list. I think everything's all sorted out on there. Just having a little quick look. I think that's everything for now. So as I said, when I first joined, I didn't really give you a chance to say anything about yourselves and whether you've enjoying your sewing, whether I'm catering for what you want to look at or not. Hopefully I am. Hopefully there's something of interest for you and you enjoy being a part of me and my community. As I say, I'm so grateful that you're here. It's lovely to know that you're there and watching me. If you're not a subscriber and you want to subscribe, please do so. It doesn't cost you anything. It just lets me know that you're there. And if you hit the notification bell, then when if you're interested in any of the projects that I've been working on, then if you hit the notification bell, then when I upload a new video, then you'll get a notification through from YouTube, so you'll know you'll be able to jump straight onto it. But for now, I don't know what am I going to do now, actually. Now I've finished talking to you, Rob's not due back for another couple of hours. I've actually got some time to myself. That's going to be a bit of a novelty, isn't it? Right. I'll think of something, I'm sure. I really do hope that you all take care of yourselves. Know that you are loved and appreciated, and I hope that our love of stitching joins us together across the miles as well, and across the continents, wherever in the world you are. I hope you have some peace and some time for stitching, and I hope you find solace in your stitches and that it calms your heart and your head as well sometimes when you need it. So with lots of love from me to you, then, oh, that was one of the little discs from Clementine's calendar just dropping on the floor. Then I'm going to wish you a very, very lovely weekend and happy evening, and I will speak to you all soon. So take care, everybody. Happy stitching, and bye.